Alright, so I'm going to be doing my review of Justice League RWBY, Heroes and Huntsmen, or whatever the fuck that title was called, Part 1. So, this is the big crossover between Justice League and RWBY, coming fresh off the heels of Volume 9, although that doesn't take place in... I guess you could say, like, the closest this takes place is probably somewhere in, like, maybe Volume... right before, like... Even they don't seem to notice. Like, that's the thing. Like, if I was to make a rough guess, I would say this takes place somewhere after Volume 4, maybe somewhere in Volume 3. I don't know. The show doesn't even bother either. Actually, no, somewhere Volume 2 now that I think about it, because it does talk about training missions, and they do mention a few other things. So I would say somewhere in the nebulous early volumes. So, this is the big crossover where we have the Justice League entering the world of RWBY. And the characters from RWBY team up with them. If you've read the comic, don't even bother. Literally, if you haven't read the first Justice League RWBY crossover, all it really takes from that book is the character designs for the character. It basically takes the character designs for the Justice League characters in that comic and just applies them to this. That's all it does, is just... because it's a totally different story, and the villain isn't Starro. Don't worry, we will get to the villain in a bit. It also adds Vixen, and it also butchers Jessica Drew's character design. God bless America, that character design for Jessica Drew is a fucking... I was like, what was wrong with the original... if you were taking all the character designs for them and modifying them a bit, you butchered Cruz the most. Cyborg, the dreads weren't doing it for me. I also feel like that was just a little too, like, black stereotype. I didn't like that. So, yeah. So the characters come together, they form an alliance. It is cool, like, I will admit, like, the idea that this is now the second film in, that we've had crossovers from comics applied to a movie. The Batman Ninja Turtles one, which was really damn good, and it is kind of fun to hear the words like RWBY say Superman or Wonder Woman. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. I will admit, it's a lot of fun to see those those kind of characters like applied to this. It's a lot of fun to like see that how that plays out. I rather enjoyed that kind of aspect because I'm just a sucker for crossovers, and I can't take away the whole thing of having these crossovers to begin with. Like, it's a lot of fun to have these crossovers actually be a thing in these stories. So I can't deny that these are this is a lot of fun. Like, I really, in no way, shape, or form, can say, yeah, I'm not excited for that. Having said that, though, a lot of the action scenes feel a little jilted, and there's also some moments where I felt like there was some clipping in the animation. I don't know what the timetable for making this was. It was announced over a year or so, over 2 years ago, so I don't know why there was so much glitchy anime, or maybe that was just me. Also some cell shading problems. Again, maybe that's just me. But, yeah. This basically... Also, I don't know how much Marjorie Taylor Greene... almost said Marjorie. Totally different Marjorie, and a lot worse. Marjorie Bennett. Oh my god, I am so sorry. I almost said someone a lot worse. Marjorie Bennett had in charge of scripting, and how much was it with the rest of RWBY, because I understand that like she shared the writing stuff with the RWBY crew, and it kind of shows, because when Jean showed up, I was like, oh good, White Savior Jean is here. And sure enough, Jean plays a huge role in the movie. Bigger than Batman, if you can believe it. Batman just kind of like is there and hangs out with Weiss for a bit, and also moles about having superpowers and is kind of whiny about it. And I'm like, wow. This is... even the Bruce in the book, and again, I know that characters from the Justice League RWBY crossover were basically were basically like the alternate universe versions of those characters. And so their personalities were a lot different. But even that one still retained a lot of, like, the Bruce Wayne dourness. Here, and this is supposed to be, in this movie, it's supposed to be the Bruce Wayne we know from the DC Universe becoming a faunus. And he's just like, I don't like the idea of having superpowers. It makes me feel weak. And I'm like, shut up, Bruce. Shut the fuck up. No, really. And again, if you thought White Savior Jean was going to save the day with some important elements, you'd be damn right, because of fucking course. You know, if they continue, I've heard that RWBY is like they're still trying to push for Volume 10 to get greenlit, but if they do and continue onward with the show, I am very curious to wonder if Jean is going to be the ultimate savior of the world and not Team RWBY. Because I wouldn't put it past them, because one of the head writers for the show is also the voice of Jean, and it's very clear there's some favoritism going on. But that's neither here nor there. Now let's talk about the villain. So this is going to be a bit of a spoiler right here. And you're probably wondering, well, the villain was Starro in the original comic. Is it Starro? It's not Starro. It's not Brainiac. It's not Grodd. It's not Vandal Savage. It's not Lex Luthor. You could guess all day. Like, you could guess all the livelong day of who it is, and you'll never know who it is. I'll give you a few seconds. Give up? It's Kilgore! Who's Kilgore? Even I forgot who that was, and I'm a big DC idiot. So, I forgot who that character was. I had to look, it was like, oh, it says C-list Flash villain. Neat. I understand that, like, it's always, and I'm always a proponent to showcasing new characters and showcasing old characters and unique characters to the world. But this was not the place to do it. People came to this crossover to see the Justice League and RWBY team up against a big, notable threat. Kilgore ain't that. You could have done, and it's also revealed that the whole world is a simulation they're trapped in, and Kilgore was being helped by somebody else who will probably be revealed in part 2, which we're already all betting it's Watts. So, yeah, it may or may not be Watts, but still, Kilgore. You could have done Brainiac. Even Toyman would have made a lot of sense. But Kilgore? Everyone's going to be like, who, like, when that name was spoken, I was like, who the fuck that? And then I had to look it up. Oh, really? Him here? Okay. The the mastermind of this great charade is Kilgore. Like, again, Toyman would have made a lot of sense for this kind of scenario. And he's a known Superman. He's not a well-known Superman villain or Justice League villain, but he's still, like, better known than Kilgore. Yeah. So that was another big problem for me. And the movie kind of ends on a just bleh note. All in all, this is just kind of a movie. Hopefully part 2 will follow more of the new DC Universe crossover, but I don't know. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this RWBY Justice League movie? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say. Yeah, I'm wondering if we'll get part 2 and wonder if it'll be Watts or it'll be someone completely ass-back. Like, watch it be like fucking Mercury or something was the master planner who was working with Kilgore or some dumb shit like that. Or someone like even less than that, like the gangster that Yang fought in her short. I wouldn't put it past him. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.